This is Prime Crime Network.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Manager at McDonald's accused of getting a teen worker pregnant. He is a registered sex offender. Investigators say that Jamira Sampson worked for McDonald's in Loganville.
And lawyer Mel Hewitt says he filed this lawsuit, yes, for money for a 16-year-old who needs it now that she has a baby by a former McDonald's manager and convicted sex offender who allegedly fathered the child when the young woman was underage, but also in hopes it can prevent this happening to someone else. We begin with her mom.
My heart broke so many places, so many ways.
The mom, who says she wants us to hide her face to protect her daughter, says that daughter was excited to suit up in the uniform of a McDonald's employee at just 15 years old, but now she's bringing suit in her daughter's behalf after the mom alleges a convicted sex offender working in management at the McDonald's
I was infuriated.
impregnated her child.
I thought he was vetted, but come to find out he was a registered sex offender.
The suit is against McDonald's Corporation, McDonald's USA LLC, and two firms that suggest are affiliated with the McDonald's franchise located at 4638 Atlanta Highway, Loganville. It alleges McDonald's employees across the country, many of them teenagers, are telling stories of routine and severe sexual harassment and abuse, and suggests in February 2021, the young woman at the focus of this case was 15 years old when she applied for employment at what she understood was Loganville McDonald's, and in about August 2021 started her employment. The suit suggests she was subordinate to who she understood was a manager, trainee, or supervisor of the Loganville McDonald's, Jamira C. Sampson. We found Jamira Sampson on both Georgia and Florida sex offender sites. The Florida entry lists lewd or lascivious molestation, victim 12 to 15 years old, and what looks like lewd, lascivious battery, sex with victim 12 to 15 years old. Plaintiff's attorney Mel Hewitt says Sampson was convicted years before he was hired by the Loganville McDonald's, and he was on the sex offender registry when hired. You're not against convicted felons getting work.
No. No, I'm really not.
The suit suggests that Sampson allegedly began sexually assaulting the young woman at the workplace, in the parking area, and in other locations off the Loganville McDonald's property.
He began grooming her, ended up getting what certainly everyone's going to claim is consensual sex, but she's 15 years old.
She's not legally able to consent.
She cannot, not in the state of Georgia.
I have a beautiful grandson.
By phone, I reached a person who indicated it was Jamira Sampson. He suggested he can't say yes or no whether McDonald's knew about his background, but an individual who got him hired at the McDonald's did know. He said allegations he messed with a young woman at the job where there were cameras are a lie. He indicated he did work as an assistant manager at McDonald's in Loganville, but he ended up leaving that McDonald's because allegations were going around about him and two young women, and considering his background, he did not want to risk getting in trouble. He suggested a young girl who worked at the Loganville McDonald's lied to him about her age, telling him she was 17, but he did not have a relationship with her or anyone underage. He says though there are two charges listed in the lawsuit, both came from one case, and he's been hardworking and has stayed law-abiding since his release from prison. Now, Loganville Police Chief Dick Lowry says his department has an open investigation pertaining to a juvenile female whose mother reported her juvenile daughter was pregnant by a registered sex offender who worked with the daughter at the Loganville McDonald's. Sampson told me, by the way, he did 8.5 years in prison in Florida because he admitted to something he didn't do to protect a relative. It appears that he's on the Georgia sex offender registry because of the Florida case.
First tonight, a
Prime Crime Network
exclusive.
A former McDonald's supervisor has now been charged with child molestation and other crimes involving a young woman who worked at the restaurant. And the suspect was already on the sex offender registry. New information came to police.
That's right, and the new charges are out of Loganville, but we are at the Clayton County Jail because we understand he's been held on an unrelated case here. We begin with reaction from the alleged victim's mom, whom we are blurring to protect the identity of her daughter.
It's still rough. She's still dealing with, being a new mom. But today is a different kind of day. It's a day of rejoicing. It's a day of accomplishment. He's gone. He's locked up.
We spoke to the alleged victim's mom Monday. She says Jamira Sampson impregnated her then 15-year-old daughter. For a story we reported last month, we encountered Jamira Sampson's name in the civil arena. It was in a lawsuit against McDonald's Corporation and others. But this new development involves his name in the criminal arena. New criminal charges, an arena with which he may be familiar. We found Jamira Sampson on sex offender sites. Mel Hewitt, plaintiff's attorney in the lawsuit, says Sampson was convicted of 2 sex offenses years before he was hired by the McDonald's at 4638 Atlanta Highway, Loganville, and that he was on the sex offender registry when hired and placed in a supervisory role.
He began grooming her, ended up getting what certainly everyone's going to claim is consensual sex, but she's 15 years old.
She's not legally able to consent.
She cannot, not in the state of Georgia.
Documents suggest Jamira Sampson has now been charged with child molestation, felony, statutory rape, felony, and enticing a child for indecent purposes, felony. Documents indicated all 3 offenses involve a child under the age of 16 and suggest Sampson took the victim in an automobile to an unknown park in Loganville and had sexual intercourse with the victim. Quote, the accused stated that he believed that he may be the father of the victim's child. A Clayton County warrant contains an allegation that Jamira Sampson on January 17th of this year committed an offense of aggravated assault by strangulation. A statement from Loganville Police Chief Dick Lowry says the Loganville Police Department has had an open criminal investigation regarding a reported statutory rape since February 2022, with Jamira Sampson as a suspect. After the WSB TV story on this case aired, additional information on the case and the suspect became available. Our detectives pursued the new information, and on Friday, April 21, 2023, were able to secure felony arrest warrants on Jamira Christopher Sampson, 29.
I definitely want him to pay for his crime, but it's still bittersweet. We need to heal the country, heal these people.
Chief Lowry indicated that at last check, Sampson was in the Clayton County Jail on an unrelated charge. For the March story, by phone, I reached a person who indicated it was Jamira Sampson. He indicated he did work as an assistant manager at McDonald's in Loganville. He suggested a young girl who worked at the Loganville McDonald's lied to him about her age, telling him she was 17, but he did not have a relationship with her or anyone under age. He suggested, though there were 2 charges listed in the lawsuit, both came from one case, and he'd been hardworking and had stayed law-abiding since his release from prison. Jamira Sampson is represented by the Clayton County Public Defender Office on the aggravated assault charge, but the office has no comment on the assault allegation so far. We did reach out by email in case McDonald's wanted to make a new comment. That statement about the global brand standards is attributable to Tiffany Boyd, a senior VP at McDonald's USA.
First tonight, a
Crime Network.
exclusive.
2 Detroit police officers have been charged with felony home invasion after breaking into the home of another police officer in Macomb County.
Yeah, that's exactly what prosecutors say. So the county prosecutor says 3 women, 2 of whom are police officers, are facing charges for allegedly breaking into the Roseville home of another officer and destroying things in his home as well as stealing his property. Now the women are each facing 15-year felony charges for second-degree home invasion. That's along with other charges. Now the allegations are that on April 11th, 29-year-old Detroit police officer Brianna Cabano, 21-year-old officer Dana Sears, and then a 3rd woman, Colleen Compton, who is not a police officer, broke into the home of the other Detroit police officer. Now Macomb County prosecutor Peter Lucido says no one is above the law.
The best word I can describe it is, it starts to violate that which we've all learned, which is police officers are supposed to serve and protect. But in this case, they're charged in a case. And now they have to deal with their own internal, which is the Detroit Police Department.
Now, we did reach out to the Detroit Police Department, and they told us in a statement that the officers are currently suspended with pay, but the chief has recommended that they be suspended without pay following these criminal charges. Now, all 3 women are scheduled to be in court Wednesday, June 14th, for their first preliminary hearing.
Do we know by any means why these police officers did this?
No, not yet. That information wasn't revealed by the prosecutors, and police aren't talking about that yet at this point, but that's something we'll learn more in the probable cause hearing when they present that information to the judge, and then he decides if they have enough to move forward, enough evidence to move forward, or they can decide to throw out the case. So we'll be learning more details then. All right.